look at the interactionist perspective, and we will also look at values, and we will also look at the RIC value survey. I'm not very sure about this, but I'll correct this, but there is an RVS. So this afternoon we have got to do this. It's a must if we are going to be comfortable with our course in terms of progress concerning the course outline. The reason we are now focusing on the individual is very clear. There is a formula here. There is an equation, if you want to speak mathematically. There is an equation or a formula that we are trying to understand in this course, organizational behavior. And the equation is as simple as this. We have an individual, and the individual displays some personality, and then the individual also has some sort of behavior, and in between there is what we call character, and ultimately all this will affect the organization. That is the way I would display or write my simple notes. And by the way, notes that appear like this, I used to enjoy them when I was in my university time because they would speak to me. I would understand what this means. So a simple sketch like this one can remind you a lot as you are preparing for examinations. There is a story here. We want to talk about the individual and their personality, and then behavior, how all these things affect the performance of an organization. In other words, we are now going deep into organizational behavior by isolating the three layers: the individual, the group, and then the organization. So now we are here. We want to focus on the individual because the individual is key in organizational behavior. The very reason we are studying this course at this time is to remind us that the human factor or the individual is key to the performance of the organization. I should also give you a word of caution or advice that it is not, and I will always repeat this, that it is not possible to exhaust an understanding of the individual. What we know about human beings or individuals is that they can make things happen or they can make things not to happen, whichever way. What we also know about individuals or persons or whatever we want to call them is that they are critical assets for the success of any organization. I am now quite comfortable that we know the meaning of organization, a deliberate arrangement of people that are brought together to accomplish a certain goal for a particular organization. That's the organization definition. So when people come together and they have got specific reasons for being brought together, they form an organization. If you start a small business yourself, it will be called an organization. And it will depend on the individuals that you bring. So what we are now about to look at is that individuals bring their own values, behavior, standards, expectations into the organization. That's why we are studying organizational behavior. When individuals are brought together, individually, they bring in their attitudes, so many things. They have their attitudes, they have their expectations, they have their personality, they have their standards, so many things they bring into the organization. And that's where the danger comes in. Because our job in this course is to try to bring the best or the most compliant or the most relevant individuals into the business. I will repeat that. The aim of this course is to help us in our future undertakings. Whether we employ ourselves, whether we get employed, we want to make sure that we bring in what we learn under this perspective, the best fit. The best fit of people into the business. Now, it is not an easy task. When I was preparing this lecture, I don't know, something came to my mind and I said, I think organizational behavior, we are not telling people the truth because there's no way we can understand the way people think. I said that, and I had evidence. I read Luke 6, verse 13 and 12 and 13. I read the Bible, and I noted that even Jesus did not understand us. Because if he understood us, he would not have chosen Judas Iscariot in the team of 12. So when I read that verse, I said, this is not an easy job. It is a difficult task. That's what I thought. So what we are going to look at is to try to go through these areas. Because we have already proved that the organizational behavior course is looking at these three levels. So I would rather like to start from how do we understand personality? Okay. So we'll look at personality first. We'll look at personality first. There are two good definitions. Today we are trying to understand the individual. This is the theme of our lecture. We want to try or attempt to understand the individual, and we are looking at personality. And there are two definitions that I found very important about personality. One I already gave you, but it doesn't do any harm if we repeat. One, I say it is a collection of qualities. It is a collection of qualities that define the character of an individual. That's the first definition. The qualities, a collection of qualities. And those qualities will define an individual. They will define who you are. They will define each one of you according to your names. Names mean nothing. It is the qualities that are in you that will define who you are. And that's now we say an individual is being transformed into a person because the person has a personality. You see, an individual, you are not saying anything, you are simply saying, I am an individual as myself. But now when you talk about me being a person, it means you are touching certain qualities that I have. Remember, this course is drawing its content from social sciences. And if you remember, one of the social sciences from which organizational behavior draws its content is psychology. And psychology is it tries to explain behavior. So no wonder what we are doing today is part of psychology. We are trying to understand an individual. And this first definition, we are talking about qualities that form the character of an individual. No wonder each one of us is different from the other, because we have got our own qualities that define us. The second definition that I found very important again, that tries to explain or to define personality, is that personality is thoughts and behavioral patterns. Okay? Thoughts and behavioral patterns. You are talking about thoughts and behavioral patterns that a person has, or that an individual has, and that differentiate. That differentiate us from other people. That differentiate us from other people. Thoughts and behavioral patterns. This is a very touching course. As we are gathered in here, each one is thinking of something different from the other. We might appear to be in the same class right now, but I can tell you we are in different places in our thoughts. That's part of this definition. You are talking about behavioral patterns that an individual has, and that which differentiate us from other people. This is pure psychology. We are trying to explain behavior. We might be in the same place physically, but mentally we might be in different places. We might be in this class physically, as I can see you, but I can tell you maybe half of this class is not in this room, is out. Behavioral patterns, thoughts that differentiate us from other people. This is the second definition that I found suitable for personality. Then the second level is, what are personality influencers? What influences personality? I said I have too much to spill out today because we needed to be in touch with the course outline. The second part is, what are personality influencers? Personality influencers. In other words, what makes you to be the one you are? That's the question I'm trying to attempt now. What has influenced me to be what I am today, and what has influenced you to be what you are now, at this point? What are the influencers of personality? We have said it's a collection of qualities. Where do you get these qualities? It's thoughts and behavioral patterns. What makes you think the way you think? Different from your friend, different from your colleague. The psychologists have identified 4 sources of personality influencers. The first one is saying the parenting you were exposed to. That's the first influencer. Parenting. The parenting you were, or I was exposed to. Because I'm also an individual, and I've got a personality, and I've got thoughts and behavioral patterns. The parenting you were exposed to is where you also draw your personality today. You behave in the way you are behaving now. The first influencer is the parenting. Parenting means the parents. Whoever raised you has a source in influencing your personality. We have grown up, I will call you ladies and gentlemen, we have grown up from different backgrounds. The behavior that you are displaying now, the personality that you have, cannot be detached from that parenting influencer. Let me tell you this. If our parents were always frightening us or scaring us or showing us the whip, then I will not be surprised that you have developed a personality of conformity. We'll come to the specific. It all starts from the background we are bringing. I remember someone was telling me that that's where I've come from. We were raised up in very different situations. So the psychologists have identified the parenting as one of the influencers of your personality today. That's what they say. And I would like to believe them as an influencer. Our parents have played a very big role in influencing what we are now. If they were always shouting at us, if they do even up to now, if from the time we started understanding things they were always threatening us, then we have grown up into people that have got a personality of what we call conformity. Let me make that clear. Ngati makolo akanongoti kalipira olusadala kwitse timakula ndi mantha. You are raising up a child who is always afraid. Our office there faces a nursery school. You can see personalities from there developing. The madams will be saying, sit down. You find one boy called Nikolai is always standing. I've actually known his name. I study human beings. The rest will sit down, the boys will stand up and be telling the others, hey, let's sit down. A little boy. That's a personality that is coming up from that boy. And it is linked to parenting. Exactly. Obviously, that boy at home is so free that there is no control. That's why that control is failing from the teacher's side. So parenting is an influencer of your personality. Ntainake ndinkamuseka nzanga kuti komewenda akazawama kupanilira kwambiri chili chose akakusapite ungokhala pansi. I didn't understand. It's parenting. You see? It's parenting. It comes from his family. That's why the wife can touch him and say, sit down. The guy, a fat one, fatter than I am, will sit down because of conformity. Anakula more chezedwa ndi makolo awo. So now he still feels that. Parenting. There are so many factors. Parenting is one of them. The second factor that is an influence is called our own life experiences. Our own life experiences is another influencer. What we have gone through. What we have gone through is an influencer of our personality. This is typical psychology. Because we want to understand the individual, and you remember the definitions I gave you about organizational behavior. Each of those definitions is talking about the behavior of individuals and how that behavior affects the performance. We bring people into organizations. This university has brought me and my fellow lecturers into this organization. Each one of us has got our own personality, and that influences the performance and the delivery of the programs that we have here. Whether we like it or not, it's true, because this is an organization. So sometimes we should try to understand individuals in terms of their own life experiences. Right, as I was coming here, I've got a friend. He's a senior counsel, he's a lawyer. A senior counsel, well respected. practicing in Malawi, and he is one of my friends. I call him a friend. But his background is because his parents, I think, died when he was still young, and he found himself in Ndirande, being raised up by his uncle and his aunt, and life was difficult. He tells me of a very sad upbringing. He was actually selling cigarettes in taverns, Zimbabwe tavern. He's a senior counsel, you can't believe it now. But he still doesn't forget that background. And he's always ready to share that background. Now, because he grew up in Ndirande, visiting tavern, selling cigarettes, I have noticed that there is one thing that he has carried over to this time, even if he's a senior lawyer in the country. He easily gets angry and ready to fight Ndirande life. You see, that's what he took from Ndirande. So despite the fact that he's a lawyer, you find him in a bar, should you just cross his bar, he's ready to punch you. So you have to hold him to say, no, you are a lawyer, at the same time, you are no longer in Ndirande. You are an old, because that trait, that personality was influenced by his own experience. You have heard people saying, hey, in the way people live is also based on their own experiences. The way people live is also a product of their own experiences. One thing. If you want to study people's behavior, start from the kids. Go to Senti, Ngona, Ntsiriza, Chisapo, and all those places, and see what the kids are doing now. Because that will define their future behavior and personality. In my location in now and they will sink here. The kids are fighting each other. That's the way of life, and that's how these kids are growing up. So they grow up with a violent sort of personality. So the second part, own life experiences. You are what you are. Look at yourself. Try to do a self-test about your personality. And you agree with me that one, it is coming from the parenting you were exposed to. Did you go through a smooth parenting process? Or are you still going through a smooth parenting process? What about your own life experiences? We have stories to tell here. Each one of us has got their own unique story about for you to reach this stage. You have a story to tell, and that has influenced your personality. The third influencer is the attention you received during early childhood. It's like the parenting. The attention you received during early childhood. The attention you receive during childhood is also an influencer of your current personality. Okay? Some of us are so quiet, some of us so talkative, some of us we don't accommodate criticism. We are different people. And we should not blame each other. These are the influencers of our behavior. Some people will not stuff nonsense. They will not take it. They will stand up and question, why are you doing this? Some will just take it and say, let's leave it. After all, what are we losing? Different personalities. The attention you received. That is why I always say this, and I will not feel ashamed to say it. Let us be a little bit careful in the way we are raising our children. Because the moment we have a tight grip on our child and make the child grow with the feeling that the world is okay, we are bringing up a very, very bad sort of character or personality. Let me say that again. If we raise our children in a manner that they should believe, yes, please. That's why I've been okay.
Right. If you know that instead of television is for the same, please let us do outside for children.
The message is clear, so you can follow him.
You have a child.
Maybe that don't want to make them go out of that route. Right, let's proceed. I was trying to explain the attention you receive during childhood. Sometimes we are spoiling our own children. They are growing up as if the world is 100% without problems. Penabagget is yes, I want to test into a bit of problem solving. We should not solve everything for them. They grow up and they say, my father, my mother solves for me. We need to start exposing our children to simple and manageable small problems at an early stage, because that is what life is all about. Because what will happen is, if we cling too much to doing everything for our children, yes, we love them, very true, but what you are doing is, when they become 30 or 40 years, they will ask you for advice on anything. Okay? So if it is a man, they get married at 35 years, and the wife shouts at them, they will call their mother, because you never give them a chance to make decisions on their own. That's what it means. So their attention must be that which must be sometimes free. Let the child understand that the world is not full of good things. There is need sometimes to develop a personality that faces challenges. And I believe, and I'm sure sometimes we are missing that part when we are bringing our children. We don't want them to suffer. We don't want them to be exposed to any problem. We are giving them a false hope about the world. When they get exposed to true life, that's when they will realize that sometimes you have to make decisions between two bad things. That's what I mean by that. Because that will shape their personality. That will shape their personality. The fourth one is, as an influencer, is the successes and failures you have had. Successes and failures you have had. You have gone through. This number 4 is also an influencer of personality. Sometimes you find that people behave so differently. You find that people react differently to issues. This is what you find in organizations. It's a combination of individuals. And individuals are made up of different qualities. You find some are so cooperative, some are so critical, some will hate you even if you have done nothing wrong against them. This is because we have got different personalities. So, and sometimes it comes from the successes and the failures that we have. I have had one secretary, not for my office, but for my boss's office. She was the secretary. I tell you, she never smiled and she never talked good things to anyone. So you go into her office, I want to see the boss. She will give you a lot of stories until I had to understand something about her. So there was a story behind that type of behavior. And it was a bad experience that possibly she had gone through. So the successes and failures you have gone through will also shape, will be an influencer of your personality. No wonder we have different personalities because of parenting issues, because of our own life experiences, the successes and the failures we have gone through, and therefore that has influenced our personality. By the way, these influences or the influencers will be carried over to our career. Sometimes you find that the workplace, others are hard workers, others are lazy, others are just passive, others are very active. It has to do with their personality. The third part of the personality issue is the big five, or the 5 big personality traits.
Sir,
Yes.
on the personality influences, is peer pressure not part of it?
It is. We'll cover that when we come to the group. We'll handle it under the group. Peer pressure, because you will now be conforming your individual personality to suit the peer level. So come on, it's true, you are right. Yes, it is. But it will come during the group, second level. Yeah. Then let's look at the 5 big personality traits. The 5 big, or the big 5 if you like, the big 5 personality traits. The first one is openness. Openness. You see, these big 5 are like the general traits that people have. And the first out of that 5 is called openness. What does it mean? Openness is the flexibility in you to accommodate new ideas. That also tells you about your personality. That's the first trait. Our openness is different from individual to individual. It's like, if we wanted to use this common language, we would say it's like we have got a bundle in ourselves. Okay? And it's called the flexibility bundle. Okay? Some of us have got pancete, some of us have got very little room for flexibility. Okay? So the openness determines your personality. We are talking about traits. 5 big traits. Openness. How open you are, and it means the degree of imagination. Degree of imagination. The degree of imagination and insight. Degree of imagination and insight. We are talking about willingness to learn. Willingness to learn. We are talking about enjoying new experiences. And we are talking about being adventurous and creative. Being adventurous and creative. These are things that are happening among us here in this class as well, because we are individuals and we have got personalities. Let's not blame others, because that's, the influencers. Some people are not so open. Okay, they are limited to their own. The openness trait is that where you are showing the degree of imagination and insight and willingness to learn and enjoy new experiences. There are people just like who just want to go about and experience things. They want to test this and that. They are so open. So, what this trait gives us, for those that have a high level of openness and for those that have a low level of openness, this is what will happen to them. Those that have a high level of openness trait is they become very creative because they are flexible. They are willing to learn. You see, there are some people that don't want to change because they cling on to old practices. So the creativity, and they are also open to trying new things. Open to trying new things. That's the high degree of openness. These people are very creative. These people are open to trying new things. They want to accommodate new things. If projects, those that are taking community development, you'll find this very useful. When you want to start or to mobilize the community to do a community project, you have to look at the location, the culture, the behavior pattern of those people. Because it will also determine the openness that they have as a community. Some projects have been abandoned because of the problem of people not being open. Because that particular community may be so much not flexible to take on new ideas. You will find yourself one day working for the Ministry of Agriculture. You never know. At one point you become an employee for the Ministry of Agriculture. You will see how many projects have failed in agriculture because of lack of openness of the farmers. I know one project was to do with entire castle. They didn't want people to be clearing the gardens when the maize has grown. So they introduced a new technology, simple one, but the farmers never took it because that community is not as open as it was, as it should have been. So if you reject any new idea, you should assess yourself in terms of how open you are. I'm very sure you people in this class, if you use Protex and somebody brings you Dettol, you say, no, I'm a diabo, because you are not open. Because you want to stick to what you have been used to do. So the issue of openness is how flexible you are to take on new ideas. And that will have an influence on your personality. Are you quick to adapt to changes? Are you willing to take on new ideas? Are you willing to learn? When you start work, you meet individuals that are not willing to learn. They think what they know is enough and is fine. You find that any new idea you bring into those people, they will say no, we will not use it. They will say no. These are the problems we meet in the workplace. People who resist, even if they have not even tested that thing, they will say no. Just know that there are individuals whose openness is limited. They don't want, they talk about anything new. They will say, no, we don't do this. We have been here for 15 years. What are you bringing as a new graduate from University of Lyon? You can't teach us. Just know that those individuals, the openness level is very low, and it becomes difficult to handle those individuals because they stick to their old beliefs. There is a certain gentleman by the name of Guy Kawasaki, must be a Japanese, Guy Kawasaki. He said this. He was a successful entrepreneur with his degree, I think in engineering or something else. But after running his business for some time, he said something very important. When I'll be giving you the notes, you'll see the source that I've taken from that, from Google. I've actually put the source, the link. He said something like this. He said, I regret that I only focused on mathematics and finance during my college days. I made a big mistake. I should have studied, it's there, I should have studied organizational behavior and social psychology because these are key to managing my business. That's what he said. He says mathematics and finance are the simplest part of any job. But the most difficult part of any job is to understand the individual who is working for you. Guy Kawasaki. That's what he said. And remember that lady Mary Case, who was running a cosmetic shop, she said, and a company is as good as the people it keeps. It's coming back to the same thing. Individuals, personalities, behavior will result into the degree to which an organization performs. Right, so these are those that have got high level of openness, they become creative, open, and so on. While those that are low, they dislike change. They dislike change. They would like to maintain the same status quo. They hate new things. We are talking about personality influencers and who the big 5 personality traits. They hate new things. And we have individuals in the organizations who behave like that. That's their personality. Some are so open. They change. They adapt to new things. My boss retired resisting to use a laptop. He was used to writing using a pen. So whatever you wanted to tell him, to say, sir, there is a simple way. Just learn how to use the computer. He was used to what he was doing in 1979, writing using a pen. So you have a lot of handwritten documents in his office. You would just judge that his personality trait was low on openness, not willing to take on new things. That's what I learned. So that's the first personality trait, which all of us have. I think the best way is to assess yourself. How easy do I take on new ideas? Or how difficult do I take on new ideas? Then you can test yourself on the openness personality. Because each one of us, the big 5, we all have this. It's a universal. Some of us are open to change. Some of us hate anything that has to do with changing the way we do things. So it will have an impact on our behavior. It will have an impact on our personality. And it will have an impact on how we contribute to the organization. Are we ready to learn? Okay? I've seen CVs from prospective applicants. I think these CVs are Googled so that the candidates don't even know what they have written in their CVs. I'm a quick learner, a fast learner, easy to adapt to situations. This is what I get in CVs. Now, during the interviews, you ask them, can you demonstrate that you are a quick learner and easy to adapt to changes? There is nothing. Because it was just Googled and then copy and paste sent to the employer. You need to understand what you have written in your CV. Because this is what interviewers will ask. And I know that what you do when you do a small synopsis or summary of yourself, you say, I'm a quick and fast learner, easy to adapt to changes and quick to do this. What you do in that first part of your CV is to try to impress us that you are open to changes. You are saying that you have that personality trait that is openness. That's the first one. The second big personality trait is, I need to pronounce this very rightly, it's conscientiousness. It's a bit mouthful sort of word, but it's very easy to understand what it is. And it's also very important. Number 2 is called as I said, this is the psychology. So these are really psychological. Can I spell it correctly? CONSCIE. CONSCIE. And then NTI. OUSNES. Okay, CONS, consciousness, something like that. Psychology. But we understand what it is, and you agree with me that some of us have got this personality trait. We have this personality trait. Almost everyone who have got a degree of that personality trait. Only that maybe we did not know that the psychological term is consciousness, something like that. What is this personality trait that we all have, but we have it in different levels? It is the level of thoughtfulness. Level of thoughtfulness. Have you never told someone to say, I'm still thinking about it? Don't make me make a decision in a hurry. That's conscientiousness according to psychology. And that is a personality trait. Some people will not just rush and make a decision. They will say, I'm still studying the situation. I want to make a very good decision. Let me have some time. That's the personality of conscientiousness, where you are looking at the level of thoughtfulness. You also have what we call good impulse control. Good impulse control. Good impulse control. Good impulse control is how calm are you? See, as I'm teaching personality, you should also assess your own personality. How calm are you? How cool are you? Or how short-tempered are you? Okay? It's the degree of thoughtfulness. You are given a situation. If I gave you a situation, each one of you would react differently. Because we have different levels of thoughtfulness. How do we consider and make a decision at the end? How do we think about something? And how do we control good impulse? Impulse is the temperature, the heartbeat. That's to do with the impulse. The way you, how cool are you? You say, how cool are you? Or how easily irritated do you get? Or how easily annoyed do you get? These are individuals that will bring into the organization. Sometimes there are certain people you don't even want to joke to them because they will not take any joke at all. Okay. They are just serious and they are not cool. Yes.
So is it different from consciousness?
Yes, conscious is a little bit, but they are not very similar. Conscious, it means the feeling you have for others. It will come somewhere down there. Conscious, which is not consciousness as it is a little bit different because your conscious is what your personality inside tells you about something. So when you say I'm conscious, I'm doing this with all the consciousness I need, not this one. It means I'm doing it with all the consideration I have towards that particular thing. Okay. Your conscience tells you what the truth is all about. Your conscience will not make you steal fertilizer that was meant for poor people. Your conscience will stop you from that. Your conscience will not make you take all the drugs at the pharmacy from Gamo Central Hospital and put it in your private pharmacy and tell patients there to say, go and buy this drug at this pharmacy. Then you have no conscience. It's also part of personality. While this one is maybe the advanced side of conscience. You are now looking at how thoughtful you are. Before you steal, your conscience will tell you that this is wrong. But consciousness will go beyond that to say, you think seriously about the implications of your actions. You agree with me, sir, that sometimes we do something and then later we start thinking about it. Say, had I known, I should not have done that. That's the part of this. So there are some of us who are quick to act and then draw later when we learn lessons to say, I think I should. And I can tell you, those people that kill other people, this thing keeps on troubling you. Because where they are, whether they are at Maula or any other prison, it's now this thing that has come. If I had only avoided him, the impulse control. If only I had avoided him, I would not have landed in here. There is no one who is happy to go to prison. Although when they are doing the action, no, it's because they have blinded this consciousness in them. So it's the impulse control. But you will agree with me that you have also seen individuals yourselves who, even if you shout at them, they will not respond. And those are the most dangerous in my mind. If you have seen individuals you have offended and you know I've offended that person, they'll just greet you. The following day, but I said you are stupid, but the following morning the lady says, how are you? Where are you going? You feel offended now yourself because these people have got a high level of consciousness. They can control themselves. And we have individuals in our community of different personalities. Some people will not let things go. They always want to react. You say stupid, you are also stupid. Tit for tat. Others, you say you are stupid, they just look at you. The following day they greet you as if you never said they are stupid. Personalities. These are the individuals who work with, whether we like it or not. Different sorts of personalities. Now, what will happen for those that are high on consciousness? Those that are high on this and those that are low on this. Quickly. Those that are high on this, they spend time preparing. They spend time preparing. Because the level of thoughtfulness. Sindimafuna kubereka example ngadimendo funa ndibereke, but because I've studied the people in our own country, the level of thoughtfulness imasiana from region to another region. The level of thoughtfulness. If you have ever, because I've worked in all the regions of this country, if you are working in the northern region, the people are high on this. They don't rush things. You can't go and visit someone in the rural areas and say, no, they will take that as rudeness. You need to sit down, they have to take you the process of greetings, and they have to take you through the process of what they believe is their culture. And in the past, it was rudeness if you just left without eating something from that house. So he says that they give you tea, they give you sima. Level of thoughtfulness. That translates into prepare. That translates into prepare. It translates into prepare. And it is, remember the influencers, the parenting you received, and also your own experiences. those that are high on conscientiousness is they finish important tasks. They finish important tasks. They finish important tasks. They don't leave this, in other universities, not Malawian universities, but I've seen in foreign universities, they also, when they are offering you a degree, they also give you where you were high on. And one of them is, you say, your degree is a Bachelor of Arts in Human Resource or whatever, Business Administration, but they will say with diligence. What does diligence mean? Well, with diligence, they mean you were preparing for your assignments, you were preparing for your examinations, and you made sure that you completed all the requirements. That is what is called diligence. That is why when maybe you have heard about the need to conduct a due diligence. Due diligence, it means you have to carefully analyze whoever you want to do business with. There are some individuals that display this personality, that they are high on consciousness. They spend time preparing. They always finish important tasks, and they pay attention to detail. They pay attention to detail. We are talking about personality. We are talking about how people behave differently. So they pay attention to detail, and they like having a set schedule. Having a set schedule of things. They always want zintu ndomeko, in short. Zintu plans, okay? This one, they have a set of schedules. It's a plan. They always want to do things mandondomeko, madongo solo. No cutting corners. They are thoughtful. They also have got good impulse control. They are not easily taken away or distracted. These are people you will meet, ladies and gentlemen, when you join the labor market. But these are also the people that you meet as you meet in class right now. You know your friend. You know what your friend likes. You know what makes your friend angry. You know what makes your friend happy. In other words, you have studied the personality of your friend. You know what you can say and what you cannot say. You know what can cross his or her mind and what can make that person happy. You know how accommodative that friend is, or how easily the friend can call it quits because he cannot stuff any nonsense. That's the second personality, big personality trait. The third one, okay, maybe I haven't said something about the lowness of that one. The low side is you make, you fail, okay, you dislike structure and schedules. The low side is you dislike structure and schedules. You always want to use shortcuts because you like to make quick decisions quickly and then realize that you have made a mistake later. You don't care when you make a mistake. You do not care when a mistake is made. That's these people. They don't see any problem with that. You mean you can't feel sorry for yourself? Huh? You don't feel sorry for yourself. You are told this is a mistake. You should not have done this, and you say, so what? So what? It just shows you don't care. Your consciousness is at the lowest level in terms of your personality. The other thing is they procrastinate. Important, that's 6. Procrastinate. Let's learn that if you have never made that. Procrastinate. They procrastinate. Procrastinates. Procrastinate important tasks. What is to procrastinate? This is to delay or postpone. They always delay and postpone action. When are you going to help me? Tomorrow, see me around 3 o'clock. Tomorrow comes 3 o'clock, we'll go to the, wait, I think give me another 2 days. After 2 days, you say, what did we agree? Okay, can we try next week, Monday? Procrastinating. They have no schedule. They make decisions haphazardly. They can think of when to delay or when to speed up decisions because they are not working according to plan. In our organizations, we have to try during interviews to assess people in terms of their consciousness, how careful they are, how they plan their things, and how they carry out their tasks in an orderly manner. The other one, another very interesting one, is extraversion. Extraversion. The extraversion personality is this one. Extraversion. Sometimes it's spelled like extroversion. So sometimes there is an O of that. Extroversion personality as big 3, the number 3 big personality trait. This is characterized by excitability characteristics of that personality. Excitability. Excitability. You can go to a place and then you have these comedians and maybe the Anikan Sime from Uganda comes to Malawi, or any other famous comedian, Tija Mpamire, and you go to BICC, you will notice that some people will go and walk out without even smiling. The whole audience is excited, happy, shouting, but this one comes in and goes out without any emotion display. That's how excited you are. That is also a personality. What will excite you? The levels of excitement will differ. That's extraversion. You are not easily excited. So you have to do with excitability, sociability. Sociability. You know, some of us or some people are withdrawn. As you are studying this course, if you check correctly, even among us as lecturers, we are different in terms of extroversion. And don't blame anyone because that is our personality. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay, now you can go. So, excitability, sociability is part of extroversion. And I think then what it means is let's be up to what time? You are the people who said, you remember, he said one time.
There's been a change of
Okay, so what time should we be having?
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Mondays.
On Mondays?
Yes.
10 to 12?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll have my, I'll also change because I think I'm... Alright, so the sociability, the talkativeness is part of the extroversion, and also the emotional expressiveness. Emotional expressiveness. Emotional expressiveness, excitability, sociability. Some people are so reserved. We should not blame them. You remember the influencers. Some people don't just like to associate. They would like to live independently as individuals. They don't like to associate. It might be seen as to be a very bad thing, but you see, we should understand them in terms of what has influenced that type of behavior. They don't like to mix with other people. It's something that we need to understand. They like to be drawn to themselves. Very quietly do they participate in what others are doing. Now, what would be the highs and lows of that type of personality trait? The highs and the lows. The highs would be those people, they enjoy being the center of attention. Enjoy being the center of attention.
Which means?
They enjoy being the center of attention. You have seen those people, wherever there is a group, they want to be singled out. Okay? They enjoy bringing the attention, and they like to start conversations. And they also find it easy to make new friends. On the lows, the opposite of this is on the low side. I don't have to repeat that. So they find it easy to make friends, and the opposite is the low side of those people. They prefer, those that are on the low side, they prefer solitude, to being alone. And they like to be alone. They don't like company. They like to be alone. The fourth one is agreeableness. Agreeableness, and agreeableness has to do with concerned with well-being of others. You are concerned with well-being of others. Agreeableness. How agreeable you are. You are concerned with the well-being of others. And there is one word which means concerned with the well-being of others. It is called altruistic behavior. Altruistic. Okay. So if we talk about altruism, if you say he's a guy who has an altruistic behavior, it means he's always willing to be the last. The others should get it first. You are concerned with the welfare of others. You create way for others before you pass using that path. There are those people that have got that agreeableness. They are always trying to make peace. They are always trying to entertain others, and they want to become the last ones. That's a part of personality. We are born differently. When I was teaching Madam Tera, I told her about a young boy who is a neighbor to our house. Come on, about 6 years now. I tell you that little boy has grown up with this well-being. You go into their house. Before the mother comes to greet you, the boy has already taken a bucket of enjoy. Alendo, sit here. Mommy, there are visitors here. She gives you a bottle of drink. Should I take some food? And she dashes to the kitchen, brings in a plate of rice. So, but the mother comes in, all the food is there. You look at that boy, 6 years old, very clever, but very altruistic in behavior. I think when you go out, the mother whips that boy, because he will bring everything on table. Is this enough? I also have got kamba. So she goes and takes kamba. Yes, very altruistic behavior. So yes, what is the question?
Okay, I will tell you the question.
You want the location? You want to go and see that? So what you can actually say in this type of altruistic behavior, personality, is that you always you care about others. That's the high thing. You care about others. I will not be surprised if that young boy grows up into someone who is so caring about others. I don't know what the mother says when the visitors are gone out. I don't know what the mother tells. Yeah, obviously, because the little boy overdoes it. So if you want to enjoy, drink, if you want to come by, if you want snacks, anything that is food. By the time the mother comes to the sitting room, he has flooded you with different parcels of food for you to eat. And you actually say, Ijan, zilipo zina, still I can get more for you. That's what this boy does. That's it. So those that are low on this one is the ones that are low, would we say, they take little interest on others. Take little interest on others. So the agreeableness is altruistic. You are not selfish. You want you people describe each other. Today when you go out, the moment you say, just know that you are looking at the personality trait. I don't want to tell him, or I don't want to tell her this story. You know that behavior. So it means we try to study the people that surround us. We know what to say and what not to say. That's what it means. The last 5 is what we call neurolycism. Neurolycism comes from neurons. Neurology has to do with the study of nerves. So it comes from neurolycism. One doctor we had in Malawi, a neurologist. I think one of his was he was a neurologist. A neurologist is a doctor who was specialized in the nerves. So neurolycism is another personality trait, and it has to do with the characters such as sadness, characterized by sadness. Okay. And it has to do with the moodiness, and emotional instability. Moodiness and emotional instability. Just check when people are angry and see how they react. Some will burst into a lot of noise, threats, and so on. Some people will try to contain their anger and just look at you and pretend as if nothing has hit them. That has to do with this personality of neuroticism. How emotional instability. Emotional instability. There was one guy I was working with. The moment I said he was not going to get a loan, he decided to sleep on the office and say, I will not get out until you give me the money. Whether you like it or not, I need the money badly. So you are looking at emotional instability there. I was quite scared of his action. I'm now looking at the time, but let me, if I could take about 5 minutes about 5 minutes just to talk about this one is a bit long. Let me just define values and then we'll continue from there. What are values? Then we'll stop and then start meeting on Monday. There is a suggestion that we meet from 10 to 12. Because this time is a bit late. We are talking about transport and so on for others. So you need to take note of that. See, we have agreed.
Yes.
12.
Yes.
Fine.
Good face.
Let me just define values and then we call it a day. We'll define values as stable life goals that people have. Stable life goals that people have. Stable life goals that people have. Reflecting what is most important to them. Reflecting what is most important to them. Stable life goals. We'll notice that when we come to the interactionist perspective, we'll be looking at the same stable life goals that people have, reflecting what is most important to them. We all have got different values. We all consider what we consider to be important, and it has to do with our personality as well. And these values are established throughout one's life. They are established throughout one's life. Okay. You set what is important to you. The interactionist perspective will tell us that some of the things, you see, when you look at something, you always translate it in terms of how important it becomes. When we look at trees outside, some people look at a tree and see charcoal in that tree. Others will look at that tree and see it as timber, those that are carpenters. Some people look at a tree and believe that that is God's nature, and therefore it's the beauty that God gave us and should be preserved. That's what it means. So we attach values to certain things, and these are life goals, and they reflect what is most important to us. For you, what is the most important at the moment is to get a degree. You have attached that importance to your studies. That's why you are here from morning up to this time, because you have attached the importance of the value of education in one's life. That's what it is. I would like to stop there, but you should be aware that we will have to finish this next week on Monday from 10 to 12. Yeah, so can you just sign, then we start.